Hi, this is Jake Kerr, and every day this month, hopefully, I'm going to be telling a story about my career in writing, in the music industry, and possibly even the tech industry. And I hope you find them enjoyable. Today, I'm going to give you a story about embarrassing myself in front of one of the biggest rock stars in the history of the world. So that'll be fun. But first, I want to remind you all that the reason I'm doing this is to bring attention to the fact that my first science fiction novel, after being nominated for the Nebula and the Sturgeon Award a few years back, is coming out on November 1st. So you can find more details in the various descriptions that are attached to this video. But let's get on with the story. This story begins in the early 90s. I was taking rock singer John Waite, who did the song Missing You, to the KLOL in Houston, KLOL FM rock and roll auction. And KLOL had this auction every year. It was a massive event where all of the proceeds would go to charity, and they would have various rock stars come in as auctioneers and to play and just to bring people there to allow them to sell more things for charity. It was a really great event, and it was very popular. You would have a lot of stars go there. And this year it was at the Astrodome. That's how big it was. It was actually at the Houston Astrodome. So the night before, I check into the hotel across the street from the Astrodome with John Waite. And after we check in, we go and sit down in the lobby bar to kind of hang out. So we get drinks and we're sitting there, and there's other rock stars there. I was sitting across from Robin Zander, the lead singer of Cheap Trick, having an amazing conversation with Robin, just talking about life and his new wife and child, or his new child with his wife, and we're showing photos. And next to me on the other side is Dusty Hill and Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. And what's really amusing is that while we're sitting there, more rock stars are funneling in. So they would come in, and because it was kind of like this collegial atmosphere, you would have people who would say, they'd walk up and say, "Hey," and they'd say, "And you are?" And it was really a joke, right? Because, for example, Robin Zander would go to, I'm trying to think of who it was. You know, might have been someone like Billy Idol, someone who was not in the Robin Zander world of rock, but was still, they would have known each other, and they would say, "And you are," and he'd be like, "Oh, fucking Billy Idol," and they would laugh, and everybody would have their thing, and this became a thing. So we'd be sitting there having drinks, and people would come in. It was really funny when Dusty and Billy from ZZ Top came in, because they look kind of alike with their long beards, and they'd say, "And you are," because they were together, and it was like, which one is which one? So it was a real funny type of thing, and this happened throughout the night. People are getting drunker, we're telling stories, and more rock stars are coming in. So finally, it's getting fairly late, and it is full. I mean, I'm like rock star central, the little old me, nobody, sitting there, and I've got like John Waite and Robin Zander and ZZ Top and Billy Idol, and like, all these people are just kind of hanging out around me. It was surreal. But this guy comes up, and I didn't recognize who it was, and he walks up to the group, and he's kind of quiet. He just walks over and kind of nods his head, and I'm waiting for someone to say, "And you are," because it happened all night long to everybody. And so I'm looking. John Waite doesn't say anything. The Billy and Dusty don't say anything. So finally, because no one's saying anything to this guy who's walking up and getting real close and getting ready to sit down, I go, "And you are?" And everybody just turns to look at me, and he goes, "I'm David Gilmour. Who the fuck are you?" And everybody burst out laughing, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I did that." So that's my Pink Floyd claim to fame. The legendary Hall of Fame guitarist for Pink Floyd walks into a room when I'm surrounded by rock stars, and I had the gall to say, the idiocy to say, "Who are you?" and or not exactly, "And you are," and kind of like, "Yeah, and you are," like, "Who are you coming into this group of rock stars?" And he just looked at me and said, "I'm David Gilmour. Who the fuck are you?" And that's probably it's a good kind of like little epithet for my life. Who the fuck are you? I'm surrounded by people who have achieved much more than I have. Anyway, there's a fun little story for you. More coming tomorrow, and I appreciate you listening to these stories as I tell them.